Hello, people of Earth. This is Tesco with Rip Kenny and Trap Jesus, and you're listening to the Human Music Podcast. Woo!
Human Music Podcast. I like it. Humans, you're listening to the Human Music Podcast. What's up? I'm Trap Jesus. You're here with my wonderful, awesome, cool ass co-hosts. Say what's up to Tesco.
Hey, what's good, humans of Earth? Hope you're all doing fantabulous today.
And my good buddy Rip Kenny.
What's good, friends? What's good?
On this podcast, we talk about all things human and music, wherever that Venn diagram happens to overlap. Now, let's get into it. What are we going to talk about this week?
We're going to talk
What
about...
were you talking about, Trap Jesus?
What you talking about?
What's the gospel?
What you talking about, Trap Jesus?
We're talking about a potential new social media platform that Luke was just telling me about before the episode. So we're going to start there because this has implications for music producers as a benefit for sure. So Luke, tell us about it.
All right, so there is this new app that started this year. It is called Clubhouse. Some of y'all may have heard of it. This might be the first time some of y'all are hearing about it. I first heard about it maybe 3 weeks ago, and I had no idea what the hell it was. But a bunch of my friends in Bounce Gang were getting really about it, starting to talk about it too much. So I hit them up and I asked about it. And a couple of caveats at the front end. Right now, it's still in beta, so it's not actually available to everybody. There are a couple things. One, it's iPhone only currently as well. So if you're an Android user, you can totally go on your marketplace and download an app called Clubhouse, but it's not what I'm talking about. There's a fake one going around, but enough on that fakeness. About the realness. This app Clubhouse, you need currently an invite from somebody who's on the app to get in. I currently have an invite, so if anybody wants to cash at me an exorbitant amount of money, I'll happily, take bribes. I currently have one invite available. But,
how many flurples?
At least 25 schmeckles.
How many flurbos is 25 schmeckles?
I think it's like the exchange rate is like 25 to 316.
Woo! We're going to Blips and Chits!
Yeah, man.
Oh!
But Clubhouse. So this is the most, out of every social media I've ever been on, it is the most social with the least amount of media. And that is what makes it super cool right now. It is audio only. All it is you make your little profile, you give yourself a profile picture, you fill in your little bio, you can connect your IG and your Twitter so people can follow you elsewhere. But it is only audio chat rooms. And so, you'll get in the app, you open it up, and there'll be a list of rooms, and you can see some of the people that are in there in case one of your friends is in there. And there will be rooms ranging from like music production, marketing. Sometimes people will be in there talking about like football or a TV show. I saw like rooms about like Lovecraft Country, people predicting what the finale of Lovecraft Country would be. There's rooms about tech. There's rooms about TikTok. There's rooms about all sorts of stuff. And one of the coolest things is, since it's in beta right now and there's not really that many people on it, and it's invite only, a high percentage of the people on there are actual like real players in their industries, including and especially right now the music industry. I've been in some rooms lately with legends. There was a room I was in the other day where big rappers from Slaughterhouse, Joe Budden and Royce the 5'9" were in there talking, and there was all these industry like marketing VP of marketing at Top Dog Entertainment, and so-and-so from the A&R department at Sony or Interscope or whatever, like all of these big people who really know what they're doing and really work in the industry, who all generally know each other too, and are like, oh, hey, what's up? Yo, we need to bring this person up as a speaker and get them in here. And one of the guys in there was actually R&B pop singer Jessie Reyes, a dope singer out of Toronto. It was her manager, and he was like asking real questions like, yo, I'm in the industry, I'm learning my way as a manager, I'm a first-time manager, and I'm trying to learn the ropes here, and asking questions, showing where he's running into roadblocks. And he had all these real industry people like giving him basically a free consulting session for like a couple of hours. Yeah, like there's all these. There's a lot of big hip hop people and pop and R&B folks in it right now. I'm hoping that the EDM scene catches on as well, because it's really cool. Like, do y'all got any questions so far? I got a lot more I could keep spouting out, but
this app looks really sick. This app looks really like sleek and sounds really interesting by concept. I'm really curious to dive into this. I'm gonna have to, send some flurbos your way. Send me a little invite.
Yeah, and once you get invited, you got another one. So I'll probably invite one of you and have you invite the next one, and then
cool. Okay, so it's like a game of Snake.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a cool concept. I recommend everybody go check it out. I'm definitely gonna hop onto this afterwards.
Yeah. It sounds super sick. You know what's funny is that I was like you just told me like the basics before we got on the podcast, and then like I hopped on. I was like, yeah, it's gonna have like potential benefits to music producers. I didn't know you had already seen like 3 or 4 exact examples of that. That's fucking hilarious. And exactly, that's exactly what I thought would happen. So that is amazing. Let me get that invite.
Yeah, man, I'll do that right as soon as we sign off today.
Cool.
One of the coolest things, like today all day I was at work doing my day gig, and I was listening in on a music marketing chat, and started out there talking about like which distribution companies to use, and I actually raised my hand because I wanted to big up Bounce Gang's new distribution company, Gvngaroo Records Music Distribution, which I'll put a link to right down there. This episode brought to you by
the best name in distribution services ever.
Yeah, join, come bounce with the gang, be a Gvngaroo. But the way the app works is there's a panel of speakers at the top. It's the stage, and then below that there's the audience, and you can see everybody's first name and profile picture, and people in the audience can raise their hands, and then the moderators of the stage can choose whether or not to bring them up, and then they'll be allowed to unmute their own microphone and contribute to the conversation. So I was like, oh, I'll talk about that. And there was an artist, Asia Kyrie, that just released her new album on Gvngaroo, and so I wanted to big her up as well because she was in the room with me. It took maybe like 15 minutes for me to actually get called up on stage. Like I heard the little doo-doo-doo in my ear while I was at work, and so I was like, oh, quick, mute myself because I'm not. And the conversation had moved on at that point. Very important etiquette. Don't just be like, hey, like 20 minutes ago you're talking about something and I want to hijack the conversation. So I just shut up for a while. But like people were, there was people in there, people that work at like Empire, records and distribution, people who work at Audio Mac were in there giving game, people who work at Interscope and Sony and all these big companies were in there like dropping game and getting Q&As, and some artists, up and coming artists were in there asking questions. It was such a cool community, and people kept talking about how important it is that we all build the community and network and like follow each other, follow back, start to build the community. And like, just off the strength of the fact that, I'm probably like the least known person on that panel total, just because there was some like big name industry people in there. But just for the fact that I was up on the speakers platform for like an hour, even though I only said like 3 things in the whole hour, I got like 30 followers on the app just in that quick time period, which like is like, 50, probably an extra 50% of what I had when I woke up today. So
for that moment, you were positioned at an equal plane as all of these legends.
Exactly. Exactly. And I just waited until I had something actually useful to contribute or ask. Like basically, if any of you guys have watched that weekly download episode I did for the dojo, like talking about how to move in networking events and find your friends in the industry. Basically, I just dropped some of the gems that I knew I had from that episode. And just like people were talking about networking, be like, hey, it's not just about collecting business cards or like grabbing as many names as possible. It's about like going to the place where everybody in your industry is and then finding your friends. Like that's why we have a podcast here today. It's not because we're like, oh, that guy's a dope producer, let's force it to be a podcast. It was like, we're all people that met in a community and became friends and then decided, wow, we love talking and nerding out about music stuff. Let's press record. Like that, shit comes up more organically than anything ever. So I was able to drop that little gem and just get, like I said, just get a bunch of people who are, some of whom are my peers in the industry and some of whom are folks I look up to are now following me just because I was in there being a genuine person as part of a conversation. And that's like the real power of this app right now, is it kind of puts everybody on an even playing field.
Dude, honestly, I'm fucking shocked at how bought in the users of the app seem. Like I'm just thinking about, this is not a passive app. You don't sit down on the fucking shitter and hop on this and consume some shit for 5 minutes and then get off. You are tuned into the conversation. You have to be able to respond. You're kind of expected to have a highly intelligent or at least useful comment to give on the subject. So the people that are using it would have to be so committed to the stuff that they're talking about and want to be there. And that is shocking for me that people are able to invest that much time. It's a really strong indicator for me feeling like this is not just a flash in the pan, that it might stick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that it's audio too, because I don't think this would have happened either. For example, if we were just speaking over text. And it's really hard to build communications over text. That's where you sort of like, you leave the like or you leave the comment or whatever just for building up sort of awareness of yourself to a person or to like support somebody or engage. But I'm talking about if you're trying to network, it's more so just to like be that blip on somebody's radar a few times before you reach out proper. And then when you can hear a voice, or even better, like Zoom is free. I'll hop on Zoom and like actually connect with the people you're talking to and give a shit about and believe in, because, I think like 99% of why this relationship between all of us was able to start is because we can feel out each other's personalities based on how we talk, inflections in our voice and enthusiasm and so on. And also like body language and besides like slight lags sometimes, it's like real time, off the cuff. There's no like barrier like there would be with texting. So it's just more genuine that way. And like, I'm sure you guys can relate as well, but like 5 or so of like some of my best friends now have been met through the internet a few years ago, either through like Discord or Zoom. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, definitely don't underestimate the power of that.
Yeah. And I mean, just to be real 100 with it, I have never met Tesco in the flesh. I've never, I look forward to being able to give this dude a hug someday when COVID's over and I'm back to buying plane tickets. But
I'm sure it would have happened by now if it wasn't for COVID. But
yeah, for real.
Yeah, I haven't met either of them, which is like pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is crazy, especially since I feel like I know you equally as well as Luke. And Luke and I went on fucking tour together in Montana for a week.
Yeah, right.
Stay together for
See, and that's the other thing too. All these people that are aspiring to tour and do all of these sick things with, like,
it's no fun being the small guy going into a well-established group already that has its like social dynamics and relationships already sort of in place. Like, it's a ton of fun, but you also don't want to just dream of coming up by yourself and then like being the little brother trying to squeeze into the big brother's play group. Because what do you do when nobody's talking to you in that group? Do you just fucking stand there like a weirdo? Because that'll kill any credibility you have. Versus like, you guys knew each other really well, and I bet when the opportunity came up to tour, you're like, fuck yeah, who better than? Yeah. So that's a way different place to be coming from when you think about actual long-term plan about what 2, 5, 10 years in the future looks like. As Bill Gates would always say, right? You want to have somebody to share high fives with at the top of the mountain. It's sick if it's Skrillex, don't get me wrong, but like, he's got his own life, or whoever you look up to, they got their own life. They're not going to be buddy-buddy with you more often than not, just because like you have some preconceived idea in your head. Like, come up with your own people, make your own community, do your own thing. Don't just like seek the approval of whoever the fuck you look up to.
Exactly. I think kind of piggybacking on that it's cool that in today's day and age, we can actually have the ability to get so niche with our interests and still be able to reach out and find people over the internet that are as passionate as you. Because I guarantee if you're not in a big city, you're like, unless it's your direct friends and you like got into music together and you started producing together and like you were already friends with them and you were learning together, you probably don't have that many friends that were just like your high school buddies that also produce now. Like, it's pretty.
Yeah, I started making music with my high school buddies, and I still love them all, but none of them are nearly as dedicated, even if they do it at all still. Like, shouts to my boys, love you guys, but you know, it's sometimes you gotta go find the people that are as dedicated as you when you're really pushing hard. And and to your point, Evan, you know, like saying like, oh, wow, even if you're like super niche on this one little thing that you're passionate about, you can still even find people on the internet. I would say maybe, like, what do y'all think? It's even easier to find those homies when you go super niche. Like, oh, I'm really into producing these kinds of music in this little scene. And you find that message board, and the people that are there are all so excited to find other humans that are into what they're into, that they're like, oh my God, did we just become best friends?
That is how the fuck you blow up. Everybody that wants to blow up, right? Quote unquote. Everybody that wants to be God tier, everybody that wants to be the person you're looking up to right now, it might start by you emulating them, but it does not move forward with you continuing to emulate what the fuck's being done. It continues forward with you putting aside your ego and getting into a Discord for some niche ass group. Like, hyperpop is such a good example right now, where it's just like a handful of Discord communities have sprouted like artists that are blowing the fuck up right now because that sound caught on when all of these like fucking some of these kids are like 14, 15, 16 making insane music, and it's getting picked up like crazy. And now think about like where they're going to be in 5 more years before they're 20. But if you're 25, if you're 35, if you're 45, it doesn't matter, because you could meet that community of people, and while you're sharing techniques, making fun music, you know, the whole rest of the world, they just hear the finished product and they're like, whoa, what the fuck? That's insane. That's the next thing. And then, you know, that's like the overnight success. But it's like investing in a stock, right?
Yeah.
You can invest in multiple stocks and probably none of them will blow up like that. But if one of them blows up, you wish you would have invested into it. So like,
and you make the most money if you invest when it's still low.
Exactly. It's like, think Bitcoin, right? That's whatever the next genre coming up is that initial boom in Bitcoin. If you find it before it's hyped up like Bitcoin was, and then it tanked, or you pull the same fucking equivalent with Rhythm. It was like the hot thing 5 years ago when nobody knew how to do it, and then everybody was doing it, and then it was getting innovated a bit, and it's like kind of in a lull, and it's going to wash by for a while, but until it sees a revival potentially. But like, you know, that's how these things go. So you're not ever gonna, like, the thing I always think about a lot, maybe we've talked about this on here before, but it's this idea that like your immediate social circle, like, obviously, you know, I would say you guys are an exception in a sense because we like actively work together towards something. But in general, like whether it's job promotions or interviews at places or opportunities here or there, it's generally people like one outside of your social circle. Or, you know, now with like Discord and stuff, you can be totally removed from your social circle. But the when you think about it, it makes perfect sense because everybody that's in your social circle that could have helped you would have by now. So you're pretty much like at the place where your social circle supports you being. So you have to break out of that because you don't know who you're going to meet. It could be somebody that's like on YouTube with like 10 million subscribers and they're like out filming content and they're just like hopping in Discords and you happen to be one. And then you strike a friendship with them. Or it could be the person that innovates the sound that's going to be fucking huge in 7 years. And you kick off a friendship with them and you don't even know it for the next 6 years. And now you guys are buddy-buddy because you believed in them the whole way. That's how these things work, not by like spamming your bullshit on Instagram.
True.
So like start giving a fuck about people and find people around your level that you believe in.
Yeah, Skrillex doesn't have time to read your DMs. Find people that you want to have a conversation and become their friends, and go to the places where there's people that are dedicated and showing up a bunch. And if you know, somebody hops in one time and you never see them on that message board again, good. You know, but you see somebody there all the time and you're there all the time and you're both passionate about whatever community it is. And you're both growing and learning from each other. Those are the kind of relationships that like really last because, you know, you guys are on the same trajectory.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you always hear like big stories, like you listen to any of these interviews with like big artists, they're all talking about the community they had when they were just getting going. Mm-hmm. They were talking about like Diplo and like the holler boards and like fucking laid back Luke forums and all that stuff. A lot of those guys built what they had because they started a community on an old school internet forum. Mm-hmm. But yeah, God, there's so many things that I want to touch on that you just talked about. I think guys like Spirit Host are going to move Rhythm forwards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't know if it'll be like Rhythm at that point.
It's not.
That's the Spirit Host.
Yeah.
Dude, he's such a monster.
It's not Rhythm, but like that's like people would contextualize like EDM, right?
It's like you were talking about with Flux Pavilion. Like he's always on the dubstep stage, but he doesn't even consider himself to make dubstep. He just makes Flux Pavilion music that's vaguely dubstep adjacent.
He makes like
dubstep adjacent. That's a
hard
good
melodic bass music.
Oh yeah,
that's dubstep.
People genres are fake kind of anyways, and it doesn't really matter. But you were saying, Evan, I think you had a B and maybe a C there.
Yeah, there's a few. Okay.
You got to take notes, like one of the presidential debates, like taking notes on what you need to respond to when you get your 2 minutes.
I don't know why I even have a pen in my hand. I didn't take any notes. I'm just looking at stuff I wrote down earlier. Okay, so yeah, everyone's gonna call Rhythm any beat that has the like dubstep tempo, and then the kick hits every downbeat and the snare hits every other.
Well, kick clap instead of snare. Yeah, that's kind of like the big thing.
The clap.
Yo, clappy boy.
Yeah, but so the
use a cowbell. Then you're different. More cowbell.
Cowbell snares. Yo, honestly, somebody roll with that, and it'll become a sustainable career. I promise.
Yeah.
Fucking pick.
Okay, so point B, I really like the stock market analogy about like putting the investment in, but I want to put a disclaimer on that it's about investing, not about looking for something that you're going to get gain from and then putting time and energy into it because of the gain. You have to do it because you like it. You have to be the next person to blow up in 7 years because you genuinely loved that music and it's just what came out of you.
Yes.
Don't go like looking for Discord servers that are starting to pop off and like just try to insert yourself because you don't know anything about the music, but you're trying to blow up. That's how you don't blow up.
Oh, I'm gonna hop on the wave right now.
So
yeah,
find your people. Just find a community that you feel at home with, or even have something to say with. Right?
Mm-hmm. I've got something for this point.
Yeah, hit it.
So like, there's kind of a distribution curve, you know what I'm saying? Where it's where it's like, all right, there's the early adopters who start innovating shit, and then the people that start really making it popular, and then it hits a wave, and then it kind of breaks, like you're talking about with these genres. And like, if you're a huge artist that has the entire machine, the distribution, the label, everything behind you, you can hop in right at the top of the wave. But if you're an up and coming artist, you've got to be on the early side of that wave. You've got to like see like, okay, let me get on this thing that I like and really explore it and innovate it, even though it's not terribly popular yet, but it's something I love and there's passion around. And the other part of that is like blues blew up in the 80s. Like it just had this whole like revival where all of a sudden blues music was huge again for some reason. And they were asking like famous blues musicians like B.B. King, like, oh, it's so amazing. Like, wow, you're so lucky that your genre is like blowing up right now. And it's the wave and this is so cool. And there's like an interview with B.B. King where he's like, I've been a blues man my whole life. And when this wave is long gone and nobody cares about blues again, I'm still going to be a blues man. Like, this is what I do. I wear a black suit and I play a guitar and I sing about sad shit. It's awesome that everybody's buying my records this year, but I don't really care. I'm not going to change. And I never changed.
You can't.
What a gangster.
Fucking
what a
baby
gangster, dude.
Man, and that's the thing too, where it's like all of these genres and whatnot, just like a lot of things we do as humans, art especially, is so objective in value. Imagine like, let's take an extreme example of like if carpentry wasn't so obviously valuable and maybe we didn't build so much shit, and then 1 year carpentry blows up and now Luke is fucking Jeff Bezos because he's been doing carpentry for like, 2 decades plus? So it's like, or rapping. Imagine nobody in the world raps and you just like, for whatever reason, decide you want to get good at putting words together rhythmically. And then that, like, now people know what rapping is. And when everybody's starting, you're like, yo, I'm the fucking master at this. Yeah. Now imagine being in a genre that everybody is at their home pulling hair, frustrated because they can't find a tutorial on how to make whatever thing that you just did, or that's like hot in that style or genre that's coming up, label that people are putting on your music. Like you are greatly going to benefit from all the people searching how to make bass like so-and-so. Bam, nothing pops up besides all your music and all of everybody else's music in that style. So, like, don't worry too if you're like trying to innovate something either. Like it could just be like the slightest thing that brings it back into the forefront of relevancy. But like you said with the BB King interview, where he's like, this is what I was doing, this is what I'm doing now while it's hot, and this is what I'm going to be doing when it's not hot anymore. So same thing with like, if you love, I don't know, like old like garage music, and it's not hot, just roll with it. You might find an idea like 2 years from now that you stick into a tune like that and it blows it up, and that becomes a revival of garage.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude,
that's so funny. That thing in particular, I was like a year into electronic music production, and I lived on the EDM production Reddit because I knew nothing at the time. And so all of that was all so useful. And I was just, oh my God. And some guy was talking about Jaws and how his style of music is so cool and so innovative. and some guy listened to it and he's like, are you fucking kidding me? This is like updated UK garage. This shit's been around for 15 years, since the 90s, yada, yada, yada. And you could just tell that guy was the producer that loved garage. It didn't become like, when he was getting good, it fell out of popularity. He got good and then stopped making it because it wasn't popular. That shit came back around and now he's fucking heated because he didn't keep doing it for 10 years and innovating and being the man. He fell off and then someone else was doing exactly what he thought should be done. And he's salty. He's salty.
Don't be that salty guy.
Funny, because I remember around that same time period, like I was just getting into EDM heavy with Future House. And I was like, yeah, Future House, like it's future, like it's all new and innovative. And I thought it was like the sickest thing ever. And I remember the girl I was dating at the time, her uncle was like a huge club promoter in Toronto. And I was showing them, I was like, yo, this new style of house is future, it's sick, it's innovative, it's different. And he's like, oh, you mean this? And he pulls up this artist from like 15 maybe years ago. And he's like, oh yeah, they were spinning this back in Detroit in the day, like all this shit. And I was just like so mind blown. I was like, but future house.
It has future in the name.
And all future means, I've come to realize over the years, is some shit that happened 20 years ago with a spin on it now and modern production. That's like, if you,
I thought it meant saw waves and seventh chords with an LFO on them. I thought that's what a future genre meant. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Honestly, if you want a safe path where you probably won't like blow up,
make future bass.
No. Well, honestly, in like 10 years, maybe when it makes revival, but like, just look at the shit your parents used to listen to and then just do that with cymatic samples. It's hard.
Smooth jazz.
I want to make past bass, honestly, just only stand-up bass music
and rocks.
Rocks.
Smooth jazz is ambient electronic jazz music. It's low-key electronic jazz music. All that shit
implies the existence of coarse jazz.
Yeah, and it's like,
oh yeah, that's John Coltrane. Love Supreme.
It's like
pretty coarse.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting, hilarious touch to that smooth jazz is also electronic music. Like, really.
That's what I'd be telling people. It's like, yo, man, there are very few genres these days that are not at all electronic dance music. Like, people dance to it. It's made using electronic means. It's EDM. Sorry, bro. That's an umbrella term. People are like, no, EDM is this thing. I'm like, no, I think EDM is this thing, and there's a million genres.
You're thinking of techno, Luke.
Heck, no, I'm not.
I need coke, man.
Techno, he didn't.
Man, it's crazy too, seeing how many subgenres spin off of the same thing. It really gets you thinking about like how nowadays we consider like metal its own thing, but before that it was like hardcore or punk or whatever, and before that it was rock and blues and whatever. And all of these things, like when it was just blues and there was no rock or punk or metal or whatever, it's like there were still subgenres within that, but some of those subgenres just ballooned up so much and accumulated enough creative commonalities between enough material that people were like, oh, okay, this is its own thing. So thinking about that, I mean, you have people that are into house, but like straight up G house, or people that are just straight up into progressive house. And in some ways, those genres are at that point where they could break off. I think that like 4 on the floor kick is like just too unifying of a factor. But in general, like that thing that you want to do that maybe isn't relevant now, like you could create a subgenre out of that by just taking all of the best elements from that. So there's a lot of creative applications to play within. I think, you know, I mean, shit. First off, it's easier having people, like we've said, to bounce ideas off of, because now you're all toying with this experimental sort of idea, and you can like think of ways to sort of branch off of it from there. But even if you're like going solo, man, people get hung up on like getting stuck writing music. And I think if you just look at genres as they are, which is just creative commonalities between bodies of work, then, you know, if you're having trouble writing a song, just be like, I'm going to write a blues song that has slidey guitar riffs and this rhythm and whatever. And you can write that song 20 times without it sounding the same. Right. So, I mean, that's why there's a genre. So like, you can also just pull that to your own creative limitations you set for yourself. I think people get too afraid when setting limitations on not repeating themselves, but like there's so many limitations you could set and still play within that. I feel it's almost arrogant to suggest that like, nope, I nailed that combination of variables perfectly the first time. No need to explore those exact variables again. And it's like, no, there's still so much room within that framework to get things right. So, and also, you know, Pareto principle, which we've talked about, like 1 out of every 5 songs you write is going to get written. So if you want to release like 2 tracks that are in that style you really love, you got to write like 10 tunes. So just fucking write out 10 tunes and don't think about it too hard.
Yeah, that's one of the dope things. Like it kind of circles back to something we talk about a lot, which is making like, you know, templates and palettes for songwriting. It's like, get a bunch of stuff that fits this vibe you're going for and write a bunch of songs out of this sound. You probably definitely won't release all of them. And even if you do, it'll really sound like an album. And like to bring it back to, you know, metal music, like how many different sounds they got in there. It's always the drummer, the bass player, the guitars, and the singer. It's like always that. And they've been making new different sounding metal songs for 40 years or whatever, you know like
some funny shit,
50 maybe.
So I recently saw on the YouTube upload to the Dead Kennedys music topic, the remix that Ilgates and I did of Fuck Off. There were some comments of like true like Dead Kennedys, like punk heads that were like, what the fuck is this? This is too aggressive. I can't believe this is even on this channel. And I'm like, you motherfucker. Everyone was saying the same shit about the Dead Kennedys when they fucking started. Listen to yourself, dude. Listen to yourself.
You sound like your parents.
Exactly, dude. You are fucking up your own ethos so hard right now. I was laughing to myself.
Guys, chill out. Guys, relax, smooth it out. This is punk music here.
And yeah, dude, you are hilarious.
The irony is too good there.
Hooey.
Yeah. Absolutely. Irony inception.
By the way, go run that track up because that shit is such a banger, dude.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Didn't we have some music that we were going to listen to? Not that. Go listen to that. But
go listen to that.
We were going to listen to.
Man, I don't know. But our last song with Polyphia got flagged. So
I'm sure it did.
Here it goes.
Go run up Polyphia too. But after Rip Kenny.
Run up.
Yeah, man, none of us get paid off Polyphia. Go run up Rip Kenny and Ill Gates. That's my jam. That Polyphia track's sick too, though, you know.
Yeah, we should get Polyphia on here. But that being said, they're a great example of a band that's taken something that's been done for a while already and just added like one new flair to it and built their whole sound off of that. Yeah. Like the electronic trap sort of fusion, when everybody was like sort of half-assing it and like doing one foot in, they just went all in on that sound and developed like something people are trying to emulate now. You know what's funny? So you were like, yo, Tim Henson, the guitarist that's fucking ridiculous on Polyphia, has some like in the studio videos. And he's just like weird kid that's just like, you can just tell it's just like the way he works, and he just always shits out fire. And he pulls up the beat for Polyphia Goat and he goes through it.
I liked his original version better than the one that got released. Dude, the one that he had was like fucking huge distorted 808s doing this like super like I don't know, it just sounded sick. Like the dive bombs with the 808s that they have just like underneath and stuff. He had them like whipping around and stuff. And like, yeah, the guitar was pushed a little bit to the back, but one of the things that I wish they did more was lean into that like hard bass music influence there. But I think that they have someone in their ear, or 3/5 of the band is like, no, dude, we got to do like prog rock leaning trap music, not trap music that has sick guitars in it, which is unfortunate because they could easily do both. But dude, listen, okay, go and watch the.
They just got to Linkin Park it and, Hybrid Theory and Reanimation that bitch.
Do both.
And then you show up to one festival and you play 2 stages. I mean, just throw this out there, like string cheese incident.
String cheese.
I want somebody now. You must go make an instrument out of string cheese. It's a string cheese challenge. Hashtag.
Where's Spirit Host at?
The electric string cheese.
I need an Ibanez knockoff 7-string
cheese.
Drop G tuned.
It needs to be tuned to cheese.
A shovel guitar.
It'll be in cheese tune.
In the key of cheese.
Cheese God. Sharp.
Oh no! That was
gotta go sharp. None of that mild cheddar bullshit.
Fuck that.
Yeah, we're our own
that flat cheddar, dude. Get that flat cheddar out of here. Did you see any flats in the MIDI roll?
No, but did you see any flats in our earth though?
Sharps. Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, bro. Watch out for that ice wall, man.
Fall right the off White the Walkers are behind there. Man, yeah. Polyphia is really interesting example of like embodying that idea, and I love how experimental they get with it. The thing too, I think there's a point like. And I'm curious to get your guys' opinion on it, because there's like, not that there was like a defining morning when I just woke up and shit was different, but there's definitely like a notable period where I just realized like, oh, I'm not producing music, right? I'm just doing a bunch of shit I saw in tutorials. And like, yeah, it sounds good and objectively it's right, but this is all getting me results I've seen before, which is cool. It's built up my vocabulary of what's possible. But like, if I want to actually keep sitting down and getting excited and stimulate myself, I need to like push the boundaries of what I think is possible. And like now all of those rules that you've learned, like see if there are creative exceptions to those rules and where you can like start to break free, or like, just stop giving a shit about your usual post-processing and just slap on like the whatever effect as you go through looks most foreign and weird to you that you haven't used in forever. That's the one that you're going to smash to max and see what it does and throw on like 5 more.
Love doing that.
Get real weird with it.
Oh my God. You just fucking Command D the effect like 4 or 5 times.
Honestly, and sometimes that's sick too. Like it all depends on what you're going for, but you're never going to like realize these tricks because technically it's not right to Command D 5 OTTs. But like when you see Virtual Riot work or when you see company work,
dude,
or any of these
seriously though, oh
guys.
my God, I'm not the Command D plugin guy. I'm like, no, I guess shit's got to be clean and I gotta have this shit under control. And then you see people like fucking Barely Alive and shit, and they literally. Their tutorial is take this piece of shit bass sound and put 3 OTTs on it and know how to adjust that. Just the volumes on the bands and the dry wet knob on 3 OTTs. And that shit is now cracking. What?
So, man, I really just want to drive that point home because I definitely recall being stuck in one phase and feeling very limited in what I could express until I realized that like all of the correct shit, while yes, it's very helpful to listen to the Human Music Podcast and get mentors and work with friends and all that shit and develop your skill. like once you have that vocabulary of stuff that always works, like that's cool. But now you need to like actually start surprising yourself, because that's what's going to surprise other people. And like, just remember that everything that you could see on, like, there's no place here to reach for inspiration when it comes to figuring this out. This is murky waters that you have to confidently just dive into and start trekking in whichever direction. And, you know, sometimes you hit walls, sometimes you bump your head off something and it's whack and you don't know where you're going and it's dark and cold and weird. But
you can
the other option is go to like YouTube tutorials. Yeah, YouTube tutorials is the pool at the hotel. And there's a fucking beach like a street away, and you can go coral reef diving. And yes, it's really scary and weird. Like, what if something goes wrong? Oh my God. But at least with music, you know, like there's nothing like really at stake on the line. We're just making beat boops on our computers. So
yeah, you want to catch that wave, you got to get out in the ocean, baby.
Totally. And the ocean is knowing when to not look at YouTube tutorials and just go out there with your surfboard and catch whatever wave you can find and see where that takes you.
I love that, because that brings me to another point, which is a similar analogy of, if you always plan what you're going to do that day based on the weather, you're going to miss out on fucking 50 to 75% of the funnest days. Because if you let yourself be concerned with a 10% chance of rain to go do that thing, you're not going to do it. And most likely that it didn't rain at all that day. Even when it's a 50% chance of rain, you should still go. If it's under an inch total of rain, you should really actually probably still go. But most people just like check the weather app. It might rain. I'm not going to try it.
I paint houses and I don't even look at the weather app. Like, man, it'll probably be fine.
What I'm talking about.
Probably.
You ain't never gonna get that fucking house.
I'll paint that part under the carport if it's rainy. I mean, I live in Seattle. We're like, come on, we're from the north out here. Like, it's gonna fucking rain. Just show up and do shit.
But Seattle,
the question is it going to be sunny?
The days it rains in Seattle, though, like, oh, it's gonna rain today. It might like drizzle.
Yeah, it'll drizzle for like an hour and a half in the morning.
For a little bit, and then that was your day of rain. Like, you can still paint that.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
And sometimes you think it's not going to be a good day to go make music. You don't feel good. You had a tough day at work. Your boss yelled at you. You had a fight with your significant other. Whatever. Fuck all that. Go make some beats. That emotion that you got, that rage, that frustration, that sadness, that's going to be the song that connects with people. Like, go get out and cry in the rain. Nobody can see your tears.
Yeah, make a beat out of it.
Oh, that was cute.
But honestly, those are the best days when you're like really not in the mental space to make shit and then something surprises you. Like, those are very nice serendipitous moments.
Dude, yeah, that's why when you're feeling like shit, just go through your sample library. Just go and organize.
Yeah, just do something. Library. Hop into a fucking Discord and talk to people.
You'll find samples in your library by organizing it that you forgot that you had and that are sick and that you can start writing music with instantly.
Man, one thing, how do you guys feel about this? Because I always find it like 10x easier to finish someone else's tune when it's at 90% than my own. Like, obviously we can all still do that, but like when you're removed from a song and you're just at 90%, easy to finish it, right? Like, if you want to do stuff, just reach out to your homies and just be like, yo, how can I help you out? Oh, do you have any like new stuff you're cooking up? Let me hear what you got going on. Maybe they picked up on a new influence that you weren't aware of, and you'll be like, yo, that's sick as fuck. And they're like, thanks, I heard it from here, whatever. But the main thing is, like, maybe you don't feel like starting something new. That's cool. Maybe you don't feel like digging through your old projects. That's cool. Just hit up a homie, see if you can help them. It's super fun to just hop on Zoom. Like, I've had sessions where maybe I'm wiped out, but like my friend didn't have to work that day, and we hop on Zoom and he's cooking something up, and like I'll just be like, oh dude, I got a perfect sample for that. Let me shoot that to you, see what you think, do what you want with it. And then like they'll be doing something else later, she's like, oh, bro, I got the perfect bass for you here. Shoot it over. Like, it's fun as hell to see that come together and like be minimally involved. There's a lot of ways you can still make this process fun. You just have to show up and commit some effort to it every day. If it's what you really want to do, you know, but, you know, if you can't like do the full thing yourself, that's cool too. Like helping somebody else, they're going to super appreciate that, or just going through your samples. That's going to set you up for success.
Yeah. Like you're saying, there's been a lot of times where it's been exactly that for me. Like my collab contribution was just like getting the thing over the finish line. They had already made all the loops. They knew what the general sound was, but then they got stuck for some reason. They hit some sort of wall. And then I'm like, yo, what are you working on? You got anything you're stuck on? Anything I could help finish? I'm like, oh yeah, man, I know these are dope loops. I know this is a great super loop. I just don't know how to arrange it or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, give them to me. I'm completely unattached. I'm just going to bang this arrangement and mix out in the next 2 hours and send it back to you.
Yeah.
And then like, tell me what you think. I'm open to notes, but like, I'm completely unattached to this. I can dive into this totally fresh and just run with it and not be like, I'm not thinking, man, that chord progression took me 4 hours to nail. It's so hard to let go of. I'll just listen and be like, that chord progression ain't it. Mute that shit. Now the track works. Like I've spent 0 minutes on everything total, so I'm completely objective in that situation. We're like, oh, all it needs is a fucking slap bass. I got a good slap bass sample over here.
That's not what it needs. That's not.
It's more cowbell.
No, bro, it just needs a sample of the Seinfeld theme.
Do you know that Seinfeld bass is actually not even a real bass?
That's definitely a keyboard.
It's a sample. Yeah. How fucking funny is that? Well, apparently
I feel a lot of people wouldn't know.
That's actually the inside joke, is that they were making fun of the slap bass by using it but then people thought it was cool. I don't know. I fucking hate it. So that's cool. What it is.
It's the thing.
I don't like the Seinfeld bass at all. Don't use that one.
I mean, it's a meme at this point.
It is.
I mean, it worked, and that's okay. That brings up another thing. Like sometimes music is amazing for like rocking the festival stage, and it's just like so gritty and amazing and innovative and cool that everybody's like, oh my God, like give me another hit of acid. I got to get into this set. And sometimes music is just perfectly cheesy enough to be cue music for a funny TV show, or like fucking emotional or hype music that transitions scenes on reality TV. Like,
you're so right.
And tell you what, unless you're like the headliner at the festival, you'll probably make more money from the TV spot. So don't throw your shit away and hate it. Like, all right, well, this is kind of cheesy, but let me throw the mix and master on it and throw in the collection, because you never know when you're going to meet somebody that's like, yo, we're doing this reality TV show, and I hear you produce music. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, well, I got these cheesy songs over here that, I mean, they're technically well put together, but I wouldn't release them under my artist name. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, that's perfect. That's like that one for that moment where the character's being goofy and talking out their ass, and they're in the confessional, like saying the dumbest shit, and everybody knows but them that it's the dumbest shit they could say. And this cheesy fucking song is the perfect sound bed for behind them.
Yeah, love that. And I think too, like exposing yourself to different formats of like what people are looking for, especially if you write any like pop, hip hop, rock, metal, electronic, anything like that would be used in movies. Like, get familiar with what is the format that people are looking for. It's like theme A, theme B, roughly 2 minutes, sting at the end.
Stingers. You need your stingers.
And now you know that, and every time you have an idea that's roughly 1.5 minutes to 2 that you don't know what to do with, maybe it doesn't build up enough, or maybe
you didn't have a second drop.
Right. Exactly. Just you add a little
intro,
stinger.
Build, drop, stinger. By the way, a stinger is that thing you hear when you listen to TV shows when it transitions the scene. The music builds up to the end of the scene, and then right when the camera cuts, it goes like and rings out. There's no outro. There's no drum out for the DJ. It's just the last ringy fucking note with the delay and the reverb and the impact all at once, and it just whoosh and transitions to your next scene. If you want to make music for sync, never do a fade out, never do an outro. Do a stinger and make your song shorter.
Yeah, it's like an impact with a stab on top of it.
Yeah, And when you know that now, like, you know, I know all of our listeners are going to have so many ideas in the vault that on a day when they're not feeling inspired, there's at least like 10, 15 things they could bounce out in a day and put up for sync opportunities.
Dude, we're going to have
Speaking of which, do you guys have any sync music?
Man,
or like
I don't know
stuff
if you
that
got
would
my
work for
text, but I'm on that tonight, actually.
I'm sure I do. Actually, yeah.
Well, Bounce Gang's pull up theme this week. Pull up soon to be renamed because there's another show named The Pull Up, it turns out. But the pull up theme this week is sync music. So if either of you guys want to come on and play stuff that you would pitch for like TV or commercials or movies or whatever, we're looking for folks to pull up, and we'd love to have you.
Cool. Potentially we'll talk after. Folks, check out the pull up soon to be renamed in the description.
Yeah, it might be. That shit. We're playing with some names. It might get called the listening party. It might get called the lineup, like, you know, lineup at a concert. If anybody has any names for what we should call the pull up that no other shows are using, let me know in the comments.
Pull down your pants.
Different show. That's on a different network.
That's the after hour.
That's on OnlyFans. Subscribe to us on OnlyFans, guys.
Yes, please.
On that note.
Yeah. And I think we can say peace among worlds. Peace among worlds, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. And remember to drop us your questions for next episode. We're going to be doing another Q&A episode very soon for you guys. Also, free mega pack for our new listeners if you haven't checked it out. Link in the description. All of the resources we mentioned as well. Follow us on all the socials. You already know what it is, man. Run it up, and you can get in touch with us any which way you choose your favorite social. And
I'm working our Instagram. I got a lot of great clips on the Instagram right now, and we've got so many dope clips on the YouTube. So if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, we really appreciate you. But come check us out on some of the visual platforms too, because we've got some dope little clips for you. Those little reminders from the episode of those little dope moments.
You need to see the cube.
Yeah, and you need to see the cube. It's on IG. It's on YouTube. Go on over there. Yep.
And if you want to find everything very, very, very easily, we love you guys. So we put it in our link tree. A link will be in the description. Link tr.ee/The Human Music Podcast.
Oh, no, we don't use that no more, man. We use the humanmusicpodcast.com. Remember?
Yeah. We got that. We leveled up. Sorry.
We made our own link tree, which is another thing. If you've got an actual website and a URL, make your link tree on your own website. Drive the traffic to your own spot. Don't give all your search volume away to somebody else.
That being said, if you didn't have it set up like we didn't for one period of time, Linktree is your
better to get started somewhere.
TheHumanMusicPodcast.com. We love all you humans.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear from you. Yeah. Can't wait to answer more of your questions. And until next time, peace.
And if you're in Columbus, Ohio this weekend, wait.
Oh yeah.
Nope. It's already gonna have happened. If you were in Columbus back there.
Now are in Columbus, Ohio this weekend, and you hear this episode next Tuesday or whatever the fuck it comes out, and you were at that show. I fucking love you.
We got our most listeners in the world are in Columbus, Ohio right now. So if you were at that show with Rip Kenny and Ill Gates on Halloween, holler at us. Tell us how much you fucking loved it, because I know it's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right, now actually, peace among worlds. This is like the fourth time we're trying to end this fucking podcast.
Just because we love you guys.
Peace.
I like it.
What's up, humans? It's Luke, your friendly neighborhood trap Jesus. Thanks so much for watching the podcast, checking out our videos. We truly appreciate you. So, Rip Kenny, Tesco, and myself got you a gift. We made you a free sample pack. It's got basses, it's got FX, it's got crazy percussion and Foley sounds, and it's free. It's all yours. Just click the link in the description below. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that like button, and share this with your friends. We appreciate you. Peace out and peace among worlds.